Hi, everyone. I'm Benita Perkins with Durham County Public Health and Executive Director of Benny Girl Healthy Lifestyle Branding and Communication. And today we're doing our webinar on HIIT versus LISS. Um, my focus, I'm in Durham County, is employee wellness, but my focus as executive of Benny Girl Healthy Lifestyle is focusing on healthy lifestyle conversations targeted to women of color to deal with the health disparities that we endure. Looking at what we can do to improve our situation because we know the healthcare system is not always going to be in our favor. And so this topic, which I do every year, well, list versus hit, is right up my alley in terms of, exercise opportunities and how we can you know, approach it and what's the best way that we can make sure it's part of our lifestyle. So, without further ado, we're going to go into the webinar, the conversation. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. And let's get started. The fitness world often gets involved in the discussion of HIIT or high intensity interval training versus LISS or low intensity steady state training as an exercise format for getting stronger and or losing weight. Let's dive into what each format does best and let you make the decision. LISS and HIIT both focus on the goal of achieving some percentage of max heart rate for a period of time. Research shows that LISS forces the body to use fat as its main source of fuel for the workout, while HIIT, due to its intensity, will use glycogen or carbs as its main source of fuel. They both hold true to these statements, but when the session is over, the amount of calories being burned is around the same. So now that we know the names of these two types, it's important to understand the differences between them, especially if you want to fine tune your results so you can reach your goals faster. Each cardio type, both HIIT and LISS, provide different benefits and results. And ideally, a great exercise program factors in a balance of both. So let's dive into what is the difference between HIIT versus LISS. To get a better understanding, let's review how energy is used in exercising. The body uses three types of energy systems depending on the energy demand required. We're going to focus on the two most important. So the anaerobic system is utilized for energy during short bouts of intense exercise lasting from 10 seconds to about 2 minutes of work. This system is the one that the body uses in proper HIIT workouts. During this 10-second or short phase, the body primarily uses stored glycogen in the muscles, but no oxygen is involved in the energy transfer process. It's helpful for boosting metabolism, preserving the body's lean muscle mass, and gaining cardiovascular or fat burning benefits. Oops. The anaerobic system is so intense, it should not be done every day because the body needs time to recover and rebalance. A great way to tell if you're training anaerobically is to use the talk test to measure your effort and intensity. You should not be able to hold a conversation or even get a few words out at a time while doing this type of exercise. The aerobic system, or LISS, after 2 minutes of workout, the body starts using oxygen for energy. Oxygen exercise can last from 10 minutes to up to 2 hours by using this oxygenated blood to transfer energy to the working muscles. In the case of running, marathon training, or long distance running are great examples of aerobic exercise. Understanding heart rate goals, LISS and HIIT focus on the goal of achieving some percentage of max heart rate for a period of time. How is max heart rate calculated? What is your maximum heart rate? Max heart rate is considered the most intense physical exertion the body can achieve. And for a person who's, say, 50 years old, we calculate the heart rate as 220, which is just the industry standard minus your age. So a 50-year-old will have a max heart rate of 220 minus 50, which is 170 beats per minute. Now, this can vary. If you're very deconditioned and haven't exercised in a while, you might be operating at a 60-year-old age and until you improve. So that means your target heart rate would be less. 220 minus 60 would be 160 beats per minute. So it really is about, fine tuning. This is a general calculation based on an average fitness level. Some people who are extremely fit and have been exercising might want to use 40 year or 45 as their age appropriate uh, target. So really, this is just a guide. And when you exercise, you'll kind of figure this out on your own based on your ability to get to your max heart rate. So let's talk about LISS. LISS training is low intensity cardio exercise, again, performed for a prolonged period of time. It's about maintaining your heart rate at about 50 to 65% of max heart rate, depending on your fitness level during the exercise period. You should be able to hold a conversation. So it's a good form of exercise to do with a family or friend, a friend of the or family member. If you can easily fit a 45 to 60-minute cardio workout into your schedule, and you prefer a steady pace to switching up intensities, then LISS may be the right choice for you. Fat burning occurs once you hit the 20-minute mark, but overall conditioning of the heart and cardiovascular system doesn't occur until you get up past the constant movement for about a half hour. So you're in the fat burning zone when you're at the 20-minute mark of workout, at your steady state. And then once you get up to a half hour, you start to get the cardiovascular benefits of the workout. As mentioned, it relies on the body's aerobic energy system. And again, here we have the 50-year-old example. So if this 50-year-old, in average condition, wanted to do a LISS workout, he would target, or she would target her heart rate to, say, 60% of max heart rate. So she'd be targeting to get to 107 beats per minute. Let me tell you how easy that is. You can get to 170 beats per minute just walking down the hall. It's a very easy target to reach, and that's why it's very accessible for really anyone who wants to work out. And some list activities. There's a lot of different things you can do. We have gardening, biking, walking your dog, walking on the treadmill, yoga. Unlike with HIIT cardio, there is absolutely zero rest during this type of exercise. LISS cardio is straight work for a long period of time. For those who think that LISS is for the beginner, let me go back. Oh, for it. For those who think that LISS is for the beginner or the under advanced within the gym, you're absolutely wrong. LISS can be performed almost every day, and as we will discuss, is used for endurance training. Depending on your fitness level, you can pick any cardiovascular exercise to perform for a constant period of time. Again, we have examples here. They can include walking, gardening, walking on the treadmill, biking. We have yoga. Some say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being lying on the couch watching TV and 10 being running for your life a lion, you should be slightly less than halfway between the two. That's your goal in terms of how you feel. If you need to train for endurance events like a 10K, half marathon, triathlon, or cycling race, you'll likely use LISS several times a week to train. This is called the principle of specificity, and we're going to talk about that a little more in a little later. Some of the benefits of LISS: active recovery. For those with high intensity exercise schedules, LISS provides for an active rest or recovery day that keeps the heart and limbs working to assist in maintaining heart rate and regenerating and conditioning damaged muscles. As in a cool down, these activities reduce post-workout stiffness and also can be performed after a workout as a long, pleasant cool down. It's great for newcomers. For non-conditioned newcomers to exercise, LISS is a great way to step into an exercise regime without being intimidated. Walking on the treadmill or swimming is much easier to engage in compared with a TRX class and burpees. And over time, you can build up muscle and stamina for more intense workouts with minimal injury risk. Consequently, promoting the format should result in more people getting into an exercise regime. Something is better than nothing, and going hard in a cycle spin class is not for everyone. Also, the simplicity of engaging in these types of exercises makes it easier to maintain over time. Per a study published in Sports Medicine, open low intensity exercises led to better exercise adherence, meaning people came back and did it again and again. And it's appropriate for all levels. Since LISS is easier to do and gentler on the body, it can be beginners, intermediate, advanced fitness levels. So it's just for everyone. Distressor. LISS workouts can provide a relaxing alternative and distraction to stressful situations. It allows for easier recovery. Because you're putting less stress on your heart and body, you may find that you recover more quickly and easily from LISS workouts. Slow and steady takes a longer time to finish, but it puts minimal stress on the body. And it's an effective way to train for endurance events. Exercising at a low intensity for longer periods of time puts less stress on your heart and lungs than a more intense workout, which can be an effective way to prepare for endurance events like we mentioned, 10Ks, marathons, triathlons. You'll likely use steady state several times a week. And again, we talked about exercising in the area of specificity, which means you're training in the same format you will use to compete in. Some LISS workouts: a 2 to 4 mile walk, aiming for a pace of between 14 and 17 minutes per mile, depending on fitness level. And just talk about this for a minute. A 1 mile test. So especially if you're new to working out, see how long it takes you to walk 1 mile. It might initially take you 20 minutes, and that's fine. If you're in a LISS workout mode, your goal is to try to shorten the time to walk that 1 mile. That is the way you kind of increase your intensity and allow your body not to get into a plateau, which is where your body, if it does the same thing every day the same way, it's not really going to make any changes. So the 2 to 4 mile walk, aiming for 14 to 17 minutes per mile, is a way to, if you want to increase that time, is a way to get your body not to plateau. Hopping on a treadmill, cross trainer, or stationary exercise bike for 30 to 60 minutes at a moderate pace. A vinyasa flow yoga class that keeps your heart rate between 40 to 60 minutes of your max heart rate, and swimming. Just like any form of exercise, LISS has some drawbacks. It requires longer cardio sessions, again, 45 to 60 minutes. You may get bored doing the same exercise at the same intensity for a long time. And we talk about the principle of adaptation. To keep up with the body's quick aerobic adaptation process, your body very quickly figures things out. A person would need to continually run for longer and longer distances and durations just to burn the same amount of calories they did when they first started. You may increase your risk of overuse injuries if you do the same type of workout too often. Let's talk about HIIT. HIIT training focuses on quick bursts. HIIT training focuses on quick bursts of cardio followed by rest period. It raises your heart rate fast from 75 to 90% of max heart rate. And though there is no universal HIIT session duration, these intense workouts typically last under 30 minutes, with times varying based on a participant's fitness level. The intensity of HIIT also depends on the duration of the session. When your body is going all out during a true HIIT, it relies on your anaerobic pathways, which is carbs and glucose glucose, and it does not use oxygen to produce the energy it needs to fuel you. This provides an immediate supply of energy, but the amount is very limited, which means the length of time you can sustain the max effort is quite short. A typical cycle would be 30 seconds of intense moves like burpees as fast as possible, followed by 10 to 25 seconds of rest and repeating the cycle for 20 minutes. Because of higher energy requirements, HIIT workouts may not be as effective for treating obesity or improving muscle and bone mass. HIIT can be applied to almost any type of exercise that has the opportunity to go hard and then recover. This includes swimming, running, rowing, bicycling, spin class. Some HIIT benefits. You need less time to work out. 10 to 30 minutes is perfect for those short on time or for those who are keen to get their cardio exercise out of the way as quick as possible. Your metabolic rate is higher for hours after exercise. This is called EPOC. One of the ways HIIT helps you burn calories actually comes after you are done exercising. Several studies have demonstrated HIIT's ability to increase your metabolic rate for hours after exercise, meaning your metabolism. The afterburn effect, also known as EPOC, and I don't know if I have the term here, but EPOC is a term, is when you have an increased quantity of exercise burned after exercise. And with HIIT, it can be up to 72 hours of increased metabolism or burn, which oxidizes carbs and fats, producing the energy needed for movement. Similar to how a car's engine remains warm after being turned off, once the workout is over and you're back in your daily routine, your body's metabolism can continue to burn more calories. Here's example one. This is energy use during LISS training. So how fast your metabolism is working. And this graph exemplifies the steady state type. There's a metabolic demand created during the exercise. You can see that red line going up. There's a requirement for, energy to fuel the movement of walking or swimming. Sorry about that. And so you have that need to, the energy need to do the LISS training. And the after post exercise, where we expend more calories when we are at rest, that is about 3 hours. So that afterburn lasts about 3 hours of continued metabolism benefits from your workout. Now with LISS, this graph shows what EPOC looks like for interval or HIIT training. And you see that up and down movement. Let's go back to the other one first. You see that rise and steady state of your body's energy use. And here you see, fast, fast, fast. Your body is going into that interval training over 30 minutes or so, or 25 minutes. Usually 20 to 25 minutes is a HIIT session. The body really can't take much more than that. The metabolic demand during the exercise is less than steady state, but the EPOC effects last longer. So the demand, because you're in a shorter period of time, you don't have the demand for movement, although you're pretty intense, but the response lasts for 72 hours of increased metabolic benefit. Note that the EPOC effect for HIIT training lasts 72 hours. In effect, that is what we burn, a certain amount of calories during exercise, but depending on the type of exercise you do, you can extend the burn for hours. And here we have the 72 hours. Note that EPOC state tends to burn fat, so HIIT training can burn a bigger amount of stored body fat than with traditional cardio. It can help you lose fat. Studies have shown that HIIT can help you lose. One review looked at 13 experiments of 424 overweight and obese adults. It found that both HIIT and traditional moderate intensity exercises can reduce body fat and waist circumference. Additionally, one study found that people performing HIIT 3 times per week for 20 minutes per session lost 4.4 pounds of fat in 12 weeks without any dietary changes. Perhaps more important was the 17% reduction in visceral fat, or the disease-promoting fat surrounding internal organs. And that's really what you're trying to get to. That visceral fat, which happens when you're inactive and you start to get that, that tire around your tummy, that visceral fat is dangerous fat, and that's what leads to metabolic issues like heart disease, diabetes, etc. So HIIT is really good for focusing on that visceral fat. Blood sugar can be reduced by HIIT. For HIIT programs lasting less than 12 weeks, exercise helps your muscles use blood sugar for energy and muscle contraction. A summary of 50 studies found that not only does HIIT reduce blood sugar, but it also improves insulin resistance more than traditional continuous exercise or LISS. Based on this information, it is possible that HIIT is particularly beneficial for those at risk for type 2 diabetes. In fact, some experiments specifically in individuals with type 2 diabetes have demonstrated the effectiveness of HIIT for improving blood sugar. So it can be good for, diabetics. Some considerations. HIIT takes a lot more energy and requires more recovery than steady state cardio. High intensity workouts cannot be maintained for long periods of time. HIIT workouts should usually not be done more than 3 times a week. So if you're looking for a daily workout option, HIIT is not the way because it requires rest days. Increased injury. HIIT workouts often call for complicated exercise moves like burpees and box jumps. Trainers warn that doing these movements with the wrong form can lead to pulled muscles and other injuries. Combine that with the rapid-fire pace of HIIT, and you've got a recipe for fitness injuries. Plus, intense workouts often put heavy stress on your body, which can cause overuse injuries and joint strains. Because the biggest walk away, because of high energy and physical demands, HIIT is not considered for beginners or those recovering from illness or injury or those who are particularly obese. I know they showed the study of folks with obesity who benefited from HIIT, but chances are they were probably already working out. Also, if you're over 55 and have any niggling injuries or have history of cardiovascular disease, have a chat with your doctor first. Sometimes, a doctor will say they don't want you to exceed a certain heart rate in your exercise routine, and then HIIT would not be an option. The biggest walk away from this debate is your physical condition and the time you have available to exercise. Slow and steady takes a longer time to finish, but it's easy to do and puts a minimal stress on the body. HIIT, on the other hand, adds a lot of stress to the body, is extremely hard to finish if done correctly, but takes a shorter time to complete. So you need to decide which form of cardio will best fit your lifestyle. It literally depends on what you feel is best for you. If you have time to do an hour of cardio at a slower pace and you don't want to put your body through stress, then LISS is your answer. If you're limited on time and can withstand putting yourself through some intense cardio, HIIT is your path. A combination of both in a workout plan is ideal. Finding days for LISS workouts takes into account the fact that HIIT can't be done every day. And to handle the principle of adaptation or plateauing during a workout, adding a HIIT workout keeps the body guessing and the body continues to respond to weight or fat loss. I want to thank you for joining today. Hopefully you've gotten something out of it. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or here are my email addresses, or go to bennygirl.com. We have more information there. And really, thank you for joining us. See you next time. Now I do want to say thank you for joining us. See you next time. You see, I just want to comment on my background. It is January, actually it's second week of February. It's very cold. And this is where my mind is right now, getting my LISS on, walking along the beach. But anyway, thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye-bye.